now, through the magic of the Cybernet Space Cube, the computer-enhanced podcast of the future, Transformers Slag Podcast.
What's up, everybody? How we all doing this Saturday night? It's the Transformers Slag Podcast Center live stream main event. I'm your host, Proto Man. I'm the face that runs this place. I'm the voice you hear Monday to Friday, and it is Saturday. A fantastic Saturday. Free comic book day. The most important Saturday of the entire year, in my opinion. And I hope you're having a great free comic book day. I hope you hit up your local stores and support your local stores, but also pick up a few books. There were some Transformer-related books that were there to pick up and everything. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about some little things that we picked up. We're going to cover the news today. We'll take some super chats from the fans. We got a couple items to reveal, some exclusive merchandise items on the side. First time being seen by the World Wide Web in the world. So we'll have that. I think we're going to have quite a few of these over the next couple of weeks here on the live stream on Saturdays, because we have some stuff going into TFCon too that we're going to reveal and everything. But going to get one here tonight too. Who do we got in the chat? YouTube members. What do we got? We got the Twins Corner. What's up, boys? Fonhart, Patrick Brown, Will Murphy. Young, what's up, Young? Straight from Montreal. Hope you had a good free comic book day. Autovolt, one of my patrons. Patrick Brown. James Hopkins is here. Who else is here? Rudy Mack. What's up, Rudy? El Kevo, T-Formers 2002, also one of my patrons. Patrick Brown. Want to make sure I don't miss nobody before we get into Princeton Phalanx 59. Ashnut is here also. Roman is here. Everyone's slowly coming on in. So let's recap some of the news, cover a few little updates here and there, and a lot to discuss, a lot of cool things to discuss. And we'll just enjoy this free comic book day like any other day of the year. A lot of cool stuff. I didn't really buy much like merch stuff. I was kind of planning to, but I didn't buy too much. But did buy a few cool things, though. So let's get into it. Let's start first, of course, with Wildo King. So Transformers Wild King Wave 2 was revealed to us from Takara Tomi's PR website and later showed up on Amazon Japan with pre-orders and everything. And we have Wave 2 of the Energy Beasts going on here. We got the Lion, Ignite Leo. We got the Spinosaurus in that of Spirituran. We got the Rhinoceros and Drillhorn. And we got this unexpected one. We had no teaser of this guy, no little hints or listings or anything, just straight out of left field. We got the Pterodactyl of Thunderbeak. And these guys are going to be coming out June 28th, 2025, all over Japan. Pre-orders are up right now on Amazon.jp and probably other import-related websites. These are going to be 2,750 yen, so with exchange, about $19 USD. From what we've seen from photos online, they're slightly larger than, let's say, a basic. Anyone remembers the old Scout class, I guess, would be the best price point, because we don't really have something like that anymore, because it's definitely way bigger than a core, but smaller than a deluxe. It's kind of in that world right now. And these guys are great, very cool. And what we got to see through it all is we got to see some more of the Earth-based Energy Beasts that we have not seen before. But even more so, we got to see how the fifth combined element is going to work through Thunderbeak, in that you could attach everything to your Energy Master, Optimus Prime, or Megatron, but Thunderbeak could also be attached to the back and make wings, and so you have like a 5 combiner there. A lot of great stuff going on. What's up, Bigum? And looking great. Wild King, clearly, I understand it's something that is totally made to be a made-to-sell toys kind of thing, including its fiction and stuff, but it's such a breath of fresh air that I would just like to see more of this on a fictional capacity. It would just be great if they could make a full-fledged series and really build out a story here and everything. It'd be absolutely fantastic. What's up, Larry? So we'll see. We will see, but I'm loving it. And again, It's not the last of these because on top of these guys, there's actually two more energy beasts we still have not had revealed because they were teased to us. These came courtesy of a McDonald's Japan DVD handout that they did just this month, and it's that of a Stegosaurus and a bull. We don't know the story with them yet, but if these guys are legitimate, they will lead to 10 energy beasts, 5 on each side of the faction for this going on. Maybe the Stegosaurus will make some kind of wing mode on the back for, let's say, Megatron, or maybe the bull will make a wing mode on the back for Optimus. Who knows? Add another twist or element to it all, and maybe that'll be the conclusion of the madness of Wild King. All we know also on the bottom here, the next episode will be, well, it says here May 14th, but that's Japan time. It'll be May 13th on a Transformer Tuesday at 9 p.m. on the Takara Tomy YouTube channel. So check that out too. Really cool stuff. I'm excited about it. I like it. I like it. It's fresh. It's cool. It's dinosaurs. It's a giraffe that Optimus Prime rides on top of. It's a lot of great stuff. I love it. Then, of course, we got some studio series stuff. We got an individual that managed to get their hands on the oh so no surprise of this one Transformers Studio Series War for Cybertron Voyager class Thundercracker. Pretty much just confirming how the color wave is going to lay out on this guy compared to the Starscream that we got before, and of course the Thundercracker, and showing the weapon that he comes with. So he does come indeed with a different weapon, the neutral rifle, along with the mace that all the others have too. Not much really I could say about this. I mean, aside from the fact that hey, we're getting a Thundercracker, and this is what it looks like. Some metallic paint on the rear rudders. Yeah. Hey, I will say this, okay? When they did the deluxe classes of these, like what, 13 years ago, it was insane what Thundercracker and Skywarp were going for at one point in the secondary bar. I think Skywarp at one point was like $150. Just because, and I've said this before, you end up in one of these situations where a certain Transformer design or character, all of their value is put into one figure. And those video games, I don't care what anyone says, were the best Transformer video games ever made. And because they were the best Transformer video games ever made, if you wanted to have proper representations of some of these characters based on that video game, you really didn't have many options. You want a G1 Starscream, there's tons of them. You want a G1 Starscream from his War for Cybertron video game appearance, at that time you really had like one or two toys at best, if you don't count third party. And now we have these out. It's going to alleviate that old 13-year-old figure market of the deluxes. And these look great. They have multiple weapons. And what's cool too, which is a small Easter egg, is if you own those original deluxe class Seekers, all of their weapons are compatible with these ones too. So you have a lot of mix and match and fun going on here. So don't necessarily get rid of your old deluxe class Generations War for Cybertron Seekers either. A lot of great stuff going on here. Love it. What's up, Aaron? Welcome to the party. So check that out. Actually, Aaron kind of worked on those original ones back in the day. I has summoned him. Hope you're having a good free comic book day, Aaron. I know everyone else was. Then next up, this comes from the Chinese message board of Taobao. And of course, they posted this promo image advertising both Age of the Primes and Studio Series. But the big takeaway from this is not all the fluff that's going on here, but of course, the dude that was chilling in the background. And if I was a betting man, if anyone's a betting man, and you look at those shoulders on the back of that jet mode or space mode or whatever you want to call it, and those colors and everything like that, we are probably looking at our Transformers Age of the Primes Voyager class Alpha Trion. Got a super chat, though. We'll get into that. Alden Tolbert with the $5 super chat. Imagine if there's an ultimate thumb war between Tenga Sword from... Oh, God, we're going into some Sentai stuff here. Well, I have to give it to RID Megatron, a.k.a. Car Robots Gigatron, only because if things go wrong, he could always turn into one of the like many other modes that he has and even the odds. Or worst case, attached to Brave Maximus. and cause even more trouble. So I'll have to give it to Gigatron on that one. But going on the deep cuts. But yeah, thank you again for the super chat, Alden. So, I mean, this is all we have right now. Again, and the robot mode is primarily going to be based on what this statue is here from the side of the box packaging. So, it's kind of wild. It's kind of wild what they're doing here. Again, I've always been of the feeling, and Aaron Archer kind of shares that sentiment, and he was the one who kind of thought it up originally, is that I've always kind of liked the idea of the original 13 not having transformations, and that transformations was something that came later through evolution, and specifically through characters like, say, Amalgamus, who created in a lot of ways the transformation cog. But sure, again, how do you sell the 13 in a main line and not have the main gimmick of a line being transformation? It would be impossible. People would go crazy. Hey, here's your leader class original 13 characters. Oh, by the way, none of them transform, which is the biggest selling point of Transformers. So I get it. I get it. I understand you have to squeeze it in there. I know for a fact that all of these guys, their alt modes don't really matter to me. And I really hope that all the time and effort that was made to put into these alt modes will be used for whatever retools or redecos or partials that are planned in the future. What's up, Cringe? So check that out. Hopefully, we'll get some images soon. What we do know is from the case assortment listing leaks, he will be coming in a Voyager case with Skybite, and Skybite will be one per case, and Alpha Trion will be two per case. So, because they come in cases of three, there'll be one Skybite and two Alpha Trions. And Skybite will supposedly be a filler because he'll come in a case earlier, standalone, where he'll be two and there'll be something else that's one. So if you are excited about him, he won't be too difficult to get. Like, say, Prima, that was one per case, but then the rumors are Prima might be two per case later as a filler. We don't know. We will see. That's an Entertainment Earth call at the end of the day. So we'll check that out. What's up, Oscar? So let's see what else we got. And of course, oh, there's the Hot Wheels news. So Hot Wheels can't resist. One of their case assortments is going to have a transformer in it. I know it says times two there, but it's times two of whatever that individual transformer is going to be. It's going to be part of their color shift 1/64 scale line. Color shift is an idea that Hot Wheels has had for like 50 years. Take your die-cast Hot Wheel, put it under hot water, it changes into another color. Put it under cold water, it changes back. So, are they going to take what we already got, like the Bumblebee, and make it turn into a red Bumblebee cliff jumper? I don't know. Are they going to do a new tooling and give us a Seeker Jet that turns from a Starscream to a Thundercracker or a Skywarp? All we know is we're going to be getting some kind of color shift transformer as part of this wave of other color shifts, meaning everything else in this wave, if you read here, the VW drag bus or the Nissan Skyline, those are just regular cars that are going to have the color shift. And then there's going to be some transformer that'll be two per case, which is actually good news because if you look how this case assortment works out, uh, there's some of the others here are one per case, so the transformer will be the more plentiful of the two. Sabertron Toys with the $2 super chat. Proto, are you and Aaron going to be at TFCon Chicago and BotCon? I could confirm for Aaron he will be at BotCon. I would like to go to BotCon, but they'd have to pay for my hotel or something. Because I don't mind paying for a flight, but to then have to pay for like 3-4 days of a hotel out of my pocket and everything, they'd have to invite me as a guest or something. I don't want to sound cruel because it's just between TFCon Toronto coming up, San Diego Comic Con, Otakuthon, TFCon Chicago, which I will be at TFCon Chicago. That's already 4 big shows within the next 3 months, 2 months. And I know I'm forgetting something in between that. Maybe even New York Comic Con, who knows? And then a trip to Japan maybe at some point. Needless to say, I would love to go to BotCon. But in all honesty, they'd have to kind of make it easier on my wallet in one place or another, just for the sake of it. Because between hotel and everything else, flight, sure, I'll cover the flight. I get it. But crack me a hotel or something, like That's all I'm asking. But I can guarantee, I know Aaron mentioned he's going to be at BachCon. I know Aaron said he's pretty much 90% going to be at Chicago, and same thing with my story. So I hope that answers that. Sabertron Toys. And Gojira Super with the $5 super chat. Um, Glenn Rattori, did your Omega Prime arrive yet? Mine, thankfully, didn't have any cracked abs. No, it has not arrived yet. I don't know a single Canadian thus far that has gotten one. Larry, are you in the chat? Did you get Omega Prime yet? Like, because it's like I don't know. It's like I know Jaws D ordered one. He didn't get his yet. And Jaws D is super excited about that one. The thing is, too, mine is a sample that's being sent by Hasbro. So historically, I've been getting sent samples since Victory Saber, and I always got them after everyone else. So if anything is any different, it's going to be the same, or I'm going to probably get it after everyone else. But I do know that I have not heard any other Canadians get it yet. But that being said, there's been a lot of other Americans that haven't gotten it yet. So it's something where we'll all have to wait. Yeah, here. So Dylan, who's from the GTA Toronto area, he hasn't gotten his yet. So there you go. So I mean, I think we'll just have to wait on that one. I mean, I'm kind of glad indirectly. Yeah, see, Larry didn't get his yet, neither did John. Okay, cool. There you go. So I mean, like I said, I think everyone that did get theirs just got theirs super early for whatever reason. They were processed first. I mean, it is what it is. I don't know when the other Canadians processed theirs, but you know, Decepticon for Life got his on Wednesday. So there you go again, and that's an East Coast person. So again, it's all over the place. I think they just kind of like who knows? Maybe they went in alphabetical order. But then again, I'm an A last name. I don't know. I don't know what was their logic. I don't know what was their logic. Maybe it was people when you you backed it, you got it first, or maybe they were working backwards. The people who backed last got it first. Who knows? So we'll see what happens with that. We're definitely going to talk about it very, very soon. In fact, how about we talk about it now? Because let me tell you something. I was getting bombarded with a ton of private messages about asking me to talk about this. And I waited a couple days only because I wanted to get mine and give my own solid opinion. Because I'll be honest with you, there has been times in the past where people complain about QC problems, and it really is kind of a and my hand is all thumbs kind of problem. And I'm not trying to hate, but there has been times where people just break stuff because they're, kind of crazy with their figures. But when I get like, no joke, this is just a small example. By the way, every image here is an individual person, and I have way more here. It's just I wouldn't have space on the screen. But a lot of people are having the same problem. It's cracking in that area because if you open up the chest, you see there's a rivet kind of system going on for creating the super mode, and people are showing, well, if you scratch down that surface and you sand it down, everything will be fine. I shouldn't have to take my virgin perfect factory made figure and then sand it down. And God forbid I was one of those people that had to pay, what was it, $250 for that thing? Was it 250? I mean, come on, man. No one should have to do that. This thing should have been glorious from the get-go. You guys planned it in advance, you know. It was all planned with the CAD images and the CG mock-ups and stuff. Then you had an extra year to really figure all that stuff out and obviously run it to factory and stuff like that. I get it. Look, some things take time. There has to be a lot of planning involved, but I would expect that kind of QC nightmare to happen from stuff that, has been way cheaper in the past. Generations Deluxe RC back in the day for the Thrilling 30. She had a QC where her thumbs would bust off, and then they made a running change that had full fists. Animated Activators Megatron had a broken spring in him, and some of them didn't even transform at all because the springs were installed backwards, and that's how the springs would break. That was another weird one. Probably the first Transformer, dare I say, I couldn't transform out of the box for whatever reason. Most of the Ultimate Cyberverse toys, they break out of the box because of the spin and transform gimmick that they did with Iaconis and some of the others. I mean, I could go on and on, but all of those that I just mentioned are like $30 or less figures when they were MSRP. This is a $250 item, which is, yeah, that shouldn't be happening. That really shouldn't be happening. And it's something where if you haven't bought one, maybe just invest in buying the original. Get yourself a Super Fire Convoy and God Magnus. It might even cost you the same amount, for both. Maybe $250 to $300 if you have that USD on eBay might get you the pair of the original from 2000. So it sucks. I know that now when I get mine, I'm going to be very careful with it. It's one of those examples that we're thankful that we have fans that kind of had the fall on the sword for us. I'm reminded of like Masterpiece Tigatron or Masterpiece Lio Convoy, where people got theirs early, they transformed it, and they either busted an arm or scratched a forehead on a expensive Masterpiece item. And because they were the people that fell on the sword early, we were able to be careful and go like, oh, when you transform your Masterpiece Tigatron, be sure to take off the head first because you're going to scratch the crap out of it. So yeah, T-formers. So here's the thing. It's like 50-50. So a whole bunch of activator Megatrons, for whatever reason, their transformation spring was installed backwards, and either you couldn't transform it, and if you tried to force it, you might break the spring. So you might have had one of those, because I know I did. I remember buying it and going like, why can't I transform an activator? This thing, like, an activator is all like, it's a one step. Like, am I mentally ill? Like, what's wrong with me? Yeah. So I don't know. Crazy. Yeah. RIP Masterpiece Hound. That's another one. So, but it's something where, I mean, this sucks. It sucks for people. I hope that they figure it out. I know that when I'm going to go to San Diego, that's definitely going to be a big talking point in a couple of months with Hasbro and stuff. So let's just hope it all works out. I'm hoping that Lio Kaiser, who, in my opinion, along with Deathsaurus, are the two most needed HasLabs in a lot of ways. Like Deathsaurus, I don't agree with the price of Deathsaurus, but it was nice to get a good update to Deathsaurus. And Lio Kaiser is another one. It's like you have a choice of this figure or a figure that came out in 1988, 1989 that's worth over $1,500 and suffers from GPS in some areas. So I just hope that this thing is without any issues, Lio Kaiser, because I'm really excited about him. But at the same time, let's just hope nothing bad happens. Because I would have never thought that there'd be problems with this Omega Prime. If you would have told me, oh, this is going to have all kinds of design flaws and stuff, I'd be like, what are you talking about? The original Omega Prime, Godfire Convoy was a flawless figure. They're just going to take that, add some articulation, and blow it up, right? Not the case, unfortunately. So we will see. We will see. But again, kind of some sad feels at the end of the day. So we will see. I wish the best for everyone that has the issues. Supposedly, Hasbro is working on replacement parts. If you want to get the phone number and contact info, check out my individual segment about this issue, which I did, I think, 2-3 days ago. I posted on the screen the phone number you could call if you're a U.S. or Canadian resident, as well as a contact email. If you are outside of the United States or Canada, go to customercarehasbro.com or just type customer care Hasbro on Google. It'll auto location change you to whatever your region is to get your customer care for that. And then hopefully, this is what they said, hopefully they'll have a replacement part ready for you guys in time for late June. But don't quote me on it. That's what they said. So I think that's a little quick. I hope that they're not just sending the same part again and then you just bust it all over again. But we'll see. We'll see. I hope Hasbro figures it out because it is a shame what's going on here. And that's it, more or less, for the main news. Let me just get some water in me here. But we do have some reveals tonight. Got some reveals. T-Formers 2002. I'm planning to try and keep my Omega Prime in combined form as long as possible to avoid the chest. I know I'm in one of these kind of situations that if they have a replacement part, I'm going to opt for it. If they don't have a replacement part that's like re-engineered, I'm just going to leave it in like some kind of combined mode forever, and that'll be it. It's like you can't see it, but I have like my G2 aerial bots. Like there's certain GPS figures that I'm just like, I'm just leaving this in robot mode until the end of time. My Transmetal Megatron. I could go on and on. Brainstorm 2002 with the $5 super chat. Just stopping by to say hi. Currently building YOLO Ava 1 model kit. My girl would absolutely love that. She's a big Evangelion fan, and she loves Ava Unit 1. She bought a high grade 2 years ago to upgrade because she had her old Ava model kit from like the late 90s, and then she got the high grade one. I don't know the specific one that she got, but she loves that. She loves it. She loves it. She got something else Evangelion recently. Oh, she got like a T-shirt and socks from Uniqlo recently or something. Mikey Louie helped us out getting that because apparently it was only available in the States. So very cool. She'll be jealous, that's for sure. She'll be jealous. Send me a message over socials. I'll show it to her and make her jealous. Twins Corner with the $2 super chat. RID 2001 Megatron, next year's Titan class. Anyone? I imagine something in that nature. Titan class, I don't know. I could see a large commander. I could see that. Because you don't have to give it a lot of like blast effects and accessories. Like if you look at like Titan class Star Convoy, what also kind of fills it out is the city mode, all the blast effects, having the little Micromaster hot rod. This guy, I don't know. This guy, I don't know. This guy, I don't know. I think like you could, yeah, you give him his weapons and stuff like that, and you could do a commander class. You could get away with it. If you could do like a commander class, like in terms of the plastic budget of say like Erotimus from Kingdom, you could pull that off. That's kind of how I would see it. For sure, for sure. What's up, Tom? So let's get into sponsorship because that has a little bit to do with our reveals. Because Symbiote Studios, bang, 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 um, they just announced that they restocked their inventory for the month of April of some select items. So we got the Optimus, the Bumblebee, the Starscream, the Shockwave, the good old Sludge, as well as some of their T-shirts. But there's going to be a new inventory restock, and on top of that inventory restock, some brand new items that we'll be talking about for the very first time. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you Soundwave Superior. So what is this exactly? So there's going to be a new scale of plushes that are different from the standard Symbiote Studio. Let me bust out the original Soundwave here. So this is the original Soundwave. They're pretty big to begin with. This is the standard Soundwave that's been around since 2002, 12 inches tall. Unique scale, SD kind of style. The Soundwave Superior goes for something that's a little more screen accurate and more importantly is 18 inches tall. Huge. Big boy. Big boy. And what's great about it is because with the recent Rumble and Frenzy, this is kind of give you a scale idea here. This is something that Symbiote Studios have been working on for a while now. They went to TFCon LA and sold out of everything. Like there was nothing left on their table. So they're working very hard on new product to get to market as soon as possible. And Soundwave Superior is going to be one of them. Here's some nice photos of him with a person next to the Japanese mangas. Why didn't you buy the Japanese mangas on Amazon? They are on sale right now. So, looking really good. So check those out. That's going to be available in May, but we're not done yet. We also have, of course, some pillows too. So also in May, if you want to dress up your home, again, Transformers is not just life, it's a lifestyle. You want to put some Autobot and Decepticon pillows in your living room, maybe have them on your bed, maybe scream into them after you accidentally bust up your Omega Prime. These will also be available on Symbiote Studios' website, symbiotestudios.com, in the month of May. And here is the pre-order sheet. So the Soundwave, the pillows will be $34.99 because they're much larger, similar to let me show you the Unicron pillow here. Don't want to screw up the camera too much. Like the Unicron pillow here that they did before. So those will be available along with restocks of course, the Transformer Slag podcast Slag, the Grimlock, and of course, just in time for the Soundwave Superior to get your Rumble Frenzy 2-pack. So those are going to be hitting too. The pillows are really nice because they're like die cut. Like they're kind of like cut like the shape of the emblems and stuff like that. These are all officially licensed. They'll have tags and stuff too. It's not just like something you get off of like AliExpress or whatever. These are legitimate Hasbro product stuff for your collection, for your hangout room and everything. So very, very cool. Check it out. And Symbiote Studios has other stuff planned. So it's going to get pretty crazy because here's the spread for a lot of stuff has been retired throughout the years. A lot of stuff has sold out. We still have the convention exclusive San Diego Comic-Con 2025 to be revealed. So stay tuned for that. We'll reveal that here on the Transformer Slag podcast on a live stream. Of course, also that Starscream that a lucky 25 were able to purchase early at TFCon LA will also be available. The Catnip Scream, the Catnip Starscream custom. So that was also available at TFCon in limited numbers, but will be available for 2025. And then, of course, there's many more to come. It's going to be quite a year for Symbiote Studios, and we'll have more reveals for you in the near future, as well as TFCon reveals, San Diego reveals, and many more right here on the Transformer Slag podcast. So check it out. Yeah, and of course, Symbiote Studios, other stuff, all the video game related stuff that they've been working with throughout the years with all the different indie companies. And of course, if you're a My Little Pony fan, same thing. You see that jumbo Rainbow Dash? There's where the inspiration came from for Soundwave Superior. So we're going to see that and many others in the near future. So stay tuned for that. There's going to be new t-shirts, new plushes. Symbiote has a whole bunch of stuff to rock out. And of course, the Toy Armada with Aaron Archer. We have a new segment that's going to be coming very soon. Stay tuned for that. We hopefully are going to get it out before TFCon Toronto, so you guys will have something to listen to on the long drive or flight to the Toronto show coming in July. And of course, Aaron put out a whole bunch of new comic book, mini book paintings. If you want to get some exclusive one-of-a-kind material from archermonster.com/shop, Aaron has a whole bunch that were recently added. I hope that none of these have sold out. I did this slide 2 hours ago. Every time I do these slides, I always like go, oh, did anything sell? And then, of course, this slide is already outdated. I'm surprised the Unicron didn't sell out, but he has a whole bunch of stuff on his shop, so check that out. All one-of-a-kind pieces. This is his mini comic collection on both Armada and Energon Comics. A lot of really good stuff here. Fantastic. Check it out. archermonster.com/shop. Sabertron toy, excuse me, with the $5 super chat. What are your thoughts on buyers purchasing Omega HasLab second-hand 18 later from eBay, knowing the figure may be damaged and no Hasbro Pulse receipt for return? Well, I mean, that's the reality of secondhand. I mean, if I bought, to give an example, like I think it was T-Formers 2002 mentioned, if I bought Hound, like Masterpiece Hound today, who's notoriously fragile in like his little doors of his alt mode, which make his feet. I mean, if I bought that secondhand from, give a shout out to Captured Prey, one of the stores on eBay and stuff like that. Is it Captured Prey's responsibility to reimburse me and stuff like that? It gets to a point where something gets so old and distant and it's a secondhand product that it's a buyer beware kind of thing. Like I bought a Transmetal Megatron many years ago off of eBay because my personal one that I had for years broke. I transformed it once and it broke. And I'm like, okay, I'll buy a second one. I bought the second one. It arrived broken. And I wasn't going to blame the seller. I'm going to trust that they didn't break it before sending it to me. I mean, they literally sent it to me in alt mode when the pictures were in alt mode. They reassured that it wasn't broken. I'm going to trust them. So it's just the name of the game. So it's something that, look, if you buy a HasLab Star Saber, Victory Saber, and the chest is scuffed, you know, the little chrome and everything, it's just the name of the game of buying secondhand after all this time, you know? So it's just something like, yeah, Capture Brace still exists, just on eBay though. Orson's been busy. He has his own personal life and busy stuff. But yeah, it's just something like that. So it's unfortunately it's just how it is. When a product gets so old and retired, there's not much you could do. I mean, Hasbro might have a bit of a return policy on certain items, but they're also going to want receipts, you know, or they're going to want you to send the product. So if something is still kind of new, and you got it, you know, it's hit or miss, it's hit or miss. So it's a tough one. It's a tough one. And then of course, speaking of HasLab, and again, thank you for the super chat, Sabertron Toys. Um, we also have Unicron. If you picked up Unicron, you want a 2-in-1, binstudios.iwarp.com has a kit for you. You could take your one HasLab Unicron and turn it into two. binstudios.iwarp.com, the ring set, the wing set. Take your pick and then own two Unicrons with the price of one. binstudios.iwarp.com. Check them out, yo. And of course, got to promote myself. Uh, if you went to Free Comic Book today, I hope you did your pre-order for Mega Man X Timelines, issue number 1 from Udon Comics, written by this dummy that you're listening to today. With amazing art from Edwin Hung. And of course, probably should have put it here too, but colors by Joshua Perez, who I've worked with for, gosh, I want to say 15 years now in the comic book industry. Josh has always been doing my coloring and art and stuff. Fantastic dude. So check it out. Mega Man X Timelines issue number 1 will be hitting stands June 18th, 2025. And if it sells well, stay tuned for more. And that's it for the news, more or less. Now, let's get into Free Comic Book Day. I picked up, every time when I go to Free Comic Book Day, I always buy a few things to support the stores. I go to 2 separate stores here in Montreal, and my rule is take a couple books, but buy stuff to support the local stores. Because real talk, I may not have time in my busy schedule to go visit Cosmic Montreal, which is a comic store that's been in Montreal for, like, no joke, 35 years. I don't have time to go see Pierre all the time. But that one time that I go to his store for Free Comic Book Day, I'm going to drop some money and I'm going to go check it out. So first thing I bought a big old display box, a nice Alex Ross X-Men #1 short box. Because whenever I do Free Comic Book Day, I buy a short box because it makes my life a lot easier for when I pick up books and I just throw them in directly. Makes my life easier, especially when I hit up the second store later on too. So I hit up those 2 stores. Picked up a few things here and there, nothing too major. I was actually hoping to buy a lot more toy stuff, but I really didn't, even though there were some sales. Stuff that's like not uniquely Free Comic Book Day. Finally got Chris Star. Was super looking forward to finally pick this guy up. Again, shout outs to the man himself, Pierre and Cosmic. He had a copy of it. So I picked up good old Chris Star, the Crystal Warrior. Shout out to the late, great Michael Golden, who worked on Chris Star back in the day. Awesome stuff. What they had too, this was a Free Comic Book Day die cast. I was like, this is so cool. It's a Free Comic Book Day van, and that was exclusive. So I picked that up. That's really cool. I dig that. That's nice. So, and this was only $10. Imagine $10 Canadian. So it was like probably like $7.50 American. So that's really cool. So I picked that up too. I love my die cast and a Free Comic Book Day little souvenir. That's nice. All those years they've never done stuff like that really. Once in a while. So you need that Build-A-Figure piece, Bigum? I have no problem with that. Are you going to be at a show or something? I will gladly hook you up with that because I don't care about the big Build-A-Figure pieces. Do you know how many I have a bag of Build-A-Figure pieces. It's like, oh, hey, I got Silver Sable. What am I going to do? What did she come with? I think she came with like Kingpin's arm or something, you know? So, yeah. Anyways, what did I get at Pierre's? I finally got Miss Marvel, the trade #1. I've had all the trades of Miss Marvel, original Carol Danvers. I hate Captain Marvel. They ruined the character. I'm not going to get into that rant, but so I finally got the trade of this #1. I had 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Always was missing #1. Ultimate Spider-Man with Silver Sable making her first appearance in the Ultimates universe. Silver Sable's my girl in the Marvel universe, along with Carol. So picked up that trade. What do we got in terms of books? Not much in terms of toys. Honestly, like this is the thing about the toy thing. There really wasn't that much in toys. I was quite disappointed. Quite disappointed. Um, but yeah, Godzilla stuff. Godzilla book. This Superman, oversized Superman reprint for Superman Day for 2025. Uh, some Infinity. These were all free books. These were extra free books from the dollar bin, so I picked up some Infinity War books. Savage Dragon, Eric Larson. These are more just kind of the resell. I'll be honest with you. I've had Eric Larson's Savage Dragon run forever, but whenever I could get like one, two, three, and these are free, by the way. So if I could pick these up for free and then I could sell them in a set, they always do well. Um, this was part of Free Comic Book Day. Uh, Free Comic Book Day Armada. They had a huge stack of these. I should have asked if I could have bought some of these and brought them to shows. Maybe I'll go back to them and ask. They had it because here's what happened. Diamond wasn't able to send all the Free Comic Book Day comics. So a lot of stores had to take their back inventory of Free Comic Book Day stuff. This comic is a Free Comic Book Day comic from 2003. So they had tons of these backed up. So very cool. Good old throwback to Dreamwave back in the day when even they participated in Free Comic Book Day. So imagine geez, I want to say, how old is this now? This is like 22 years old now, something like that. Isn't that wild? 22-year-old Free Comic Book Day comic. Great one. Got that. Here's another one. Free Comic Book Day are animated. Pick that one up too. This one I do already have. So I'll probably put this on the chopping block for people. If I do a future show, I'll bring this with. So that's another rad one. Free Comic Book Day animated. We got a super chat from JR Mina for 250,000. I'm just joking. Filipino pesos. Since Missing Link RC is coming, do you think they'll release a Headmasters version? I was kind of hoping they'd do that, JR. Have a great stream. I'll listen later. Going to an event to display some Macross Valkyrie XB1S, Roy Fokker and Hikaru and Rick Hunter. That's awesome. I was hoping they were going to do that. I think we'll get another Headmaster RC later. It's one of those things that I imagine Hasbro, like, yeah, we had the HasCon one that they did with the blur mold, but I think they'll do one later on. It's an excuse to do a new, fresh RC toy at some point, you know? So that's kind of how I see that. Very, very cool. Then, of course, they also had some more old Free Comic Book Day stuff because I was like, oh, like if I'm not going to get some of these Free Comic Book Day books of the new ones, because look, no joke, I was looking forward to. They had a free King Arthur and the Knights of Justice. It got canceled. They had a Speed Racer book. I didn't see it anywhere. Did anyone see the Speed Racer book? I was really looking forward to that. That was not there. I was looking forward to what was another one that was supposed to be there. The Minecraft book. Didn't see that one. So I don't know if that was canceled or it wasn't in some stores. So a lot of stores just put other stuff. So, the Tick. The Tick is the greatest of all time. So I'm going to pick up another Free Comic Book Day Tick book. Sure, no problem. Then we got more Infinity War. That was another like dollar bin free book. Here's a goat. This was easily, without a doubt, one of the best Free Comic Book Day books I have ever seen in my entire life. They used a high quality gloss cover, and this thing is 40 pages of full color Gundam Wing Free Comic Book Day. This is the brand new 2025 Free Comic Book Day 30th anniversary Gundam Wing Free Comic Book Day. This is amazing. This one I kind of wish. Oh, so the Speed Racer did get released. Okay, so I'm gonna have to figure out a way to pick it up. Maybe I'll buy it off of eBay or something. But I didn't see it anywhere locally here. It was kind of what was going on. It was Diamond messed it up for anybody. But this thing came in the clutch, so that was very cool. And of course, how could you not talk about Free Comic Book Day with the worst spot ever? Had to pick that one up, of course. Very, very cool. I didn't read it yet, but I'm looking forward to it. Very awesome. Another Tick Free Comic Book Day. They had a whole bunch of those. So they did get the Minecraft comic. Okay, so the Minecraft one and the Speed Racer did get released. Because again, like I was getting conflicting information from people. It was all over the place. It was all over. So at least that's good though. I see Madhouse was a Mad something. No, it's not Madhouse. Mad something. Mad Comics but not related to Mad Magazine. I think they announced that some of those books got canceled or whatever, like they didn't make it. And I know the King Arthur book, it was like a King Arthur and Princess Guinevere free comic book day. I was legitimately looking forward to that because I love King Arthur and the Knights of Justice. And that's like some new stuff. So, yeah, some people were telling me the Mega Man book wasn't available at their store. Some people were telling me the Rival Schools Street Fighter book wasn't available. It's the first time ever that free comic book day, like store to store, had different inventory. It was all over the place. Mad Cave. Thank you, Titus. So, like, it sucks. It sucks to hear that. Got Ultraman, vintage Ultraman from good old Nemesis Comics back in the day. I have this already, but I don't think I have this variant. This is the one that didn't have the Virgin cover. So I have to check my personal collection. Good old Jack Shindo there. Issue number 2 with Gudis and the crew. Love that one. This one's a deep cut if you're a Tick fan. These were free too. Paul the Samurai. That's a good old Tick spin-off book. Again, these were part of the dollar bin, so they were free. Because one of my stores, you get 3 free comic books from the free comic book day stuff, and then you get 10 free comic books from the dollar bin, just so they could get rid of their old inventory. You know, Warlock Chronicles 90s SF book, got that. The Flash TV series, got that one. This one was a really cool one. So we got here. We got this is a good resell cover, Witchblade. We know why. Demonetize me. Anytime it's a sex sells cover, I always pick it up because that's super easy to put at a con and sell. It always sells well. Um, this is some of the girl. She got her stuff, her books. There's a Huntress book here she got. And then, of course, let's get into Sable and Fortune, the full run of Sable and Fortune. These I paid for. So got Sable and Fortune, picked those up. A key issue I was missing of Wolverine from Marvel Presents. Another key issue of Wolverine from Marvel Presents I was missing. And then we got more odd stuff, Fantastic Four. This is a Silver Sable appearance. Silver Sable appearance of Darklock. I think that's it for those ones. Here's a cool one. This is a Sonic the Hedgehog comic, DC crossover with Flash. I'm not a big Sonic guy, but I dig a Barry Allen and Wally West. So picked that one up. The Scarlet Speedster with the blue blur. So I dig that. That's pretty cool. And then, yeah, not much else, unfortunately. Let me just get to the rest of the free comic book day stuff because these are her books. So we got the Godzilla, we got the Power Ranger one, and the VR Troopers one, double-sided. People got to pick that one up. I got an extra of Worst Spot Ever in case if people didn't get one. I'll make sure that it's in the bin at a TFCon in the future. Of course, we got the Energon Universe book, which I failed to talk about yesterday. I apologize. But yeah, that was also available. The Gargoyles book, the Bad Kitty book, and I think that is it. Again, Godzilla and the Star Wars one. So yeah, that's it more or less. The only other stuff that I got was one of the stores had like some loose figures for sale. Cops fighting crime in a future time. They had some really cheap cops figures, so I picked them up just so I could compare them to my personal ones if they're in better condition, and then sell the other ones in the secondary market at some point. So that's kind of that's how that's working. Uh, yeah, yep. Where are we at here? Really love the Transformer Story Energon Universe book. I'm gonna read all of that tonight. That's gonna be like I'm gonna have a stack of books next to the bedside. But yeah, messing with my 86 Optimus as we speak. Good old 86 Optimus. But yeah, that was it more or less. That was it more or less. Unfortunately, I remember when the day was done, I was like, didn't spend as much as I did last year. That's for sure. But I probably dropped like a good, like probably, I want to say like maybe $100 across the 2 stores. So, and that's in Canadian. So that's even that's even less American. Um, But again, I always like, take a couple bucks, put money back into the community and keep those stores alive. Free comic book day is the most important day of the year for those guys, so it's very important. But yeah, I picked up a few books, and that's more or less it. I think, like, again, the big thing for me was good old Chris Star. Just cool to kind of get that. Getting a Chris Star figure in 2025 is kind of wild, considering that was a Remco line that died. Like, Chris Star came out, comic book came out, and it all got canceled within like 6 months, and then that was the end of that. So they tried. I liked it because as a kid, I was like, "Oh, that's kind of cool. It'd be cool if they made a cartoon," and nothing ever came of it. But I always thought the toys were really cool, Chris Star. So picked that up. There's a ROM the Space Knight that I wanted to pick up too, but they didn't have that there. I would have picked that one up too. Get all these weird '80s toy lines. But aside from that, that's it more or less in terms of pickups. We'll have definitely some more reveals next week. I'm just trying to think of anything else because I know that uh, sometime in May we're probably going to be starting to show off some of the TFCon exclusives and the Patreon exclusives. Because what we're going to be doing is we're going to have a TFCon exclusive, a new one. If you come to TFCon Toronto, we'll still have the Pokemon Red and Blue, but we're also going to do a new exclusive for TFCon Toronto that'll make the rounds at the USA shows in the future. So we're going to have that, but then we're also going to have a Patreon exclusive for people that are at the show. If they're patrons, we'll have something for them. If you can't come to the show, we'll try to figure something out like we always do. And yeah, so we're going to have that revealed. Maybe not next week, but maybe in the weeks coming because we do have a very busy schedule and stuff like that. Spiral Zone is another really awesome unsung toy line. That Spiral Zone that show is way too dark for an '80s show. You know, very very good show, a very very good toy line. Big Rom is one of the best Marvel Legends figures ever made. Definitely has some of the best packaging, that's for sure. It's funny because like Rom is probably a lot like what they did with Death's Head, where part of why he's so good is because it's all new tooling. And when you look at ROM, it's like there's probably no reuse of tooling there. That's probably like new tooling from the ground up everywhere, you know? T-Formers 2002 was not expecting a wild character designs of Ballpoint. Yeah, man. I can't wait to read that one because it's got my boy Shockwave in it and stuff. And it's a G1 based story. So, where's that? Where is good old Ballpoint? There you go, man. You want to talk about key issues? The first appearance of Ballpoint. He's going to be a legend one day. He's going to be a legend. Look at that. Who drew this? Got to give him a shout out. Art, colorist, and lettered by Mars Jr. Mars Jr. And written by Brian Smith, Smithy Smith. Shout out to them. Very, very cool. For people that are curious, this is just a preview book. You don't get the whole story. There's going to be a full version of this whole story, printed as a actual thicker book that you will be able to pick up not just at your local comic book stores, but also at bookstores and stuff too. It's part of a new initiative by Skybound called, here, I'll show you, Skybound Comet, which is more like a trade paperback for a younger demographic. So this is going to be kind of their Skybound comic Transformer book, the worst bot ever. So cute little book, just fun stuff. Hopefully, Ballpoint gets a toy at some point. That's all we could really hope for. But yeah, very very cool. Very very cool. But what did you guys get on Free Comic Book Day or this weekend at all? Did you get anything? Did you find any cool toys or stuff like that? Again, I literally like did Free Comic Book Day, did my grocery shopping, had the rush back here, do all the slides and everything for the podcast, feed the animals and everything, and take care of that because we were gone most of the day. And then just had to do business. So I didn't really have much time for anything else. I would have loved to our Toys R Us's are all closing down. So I would have loved to hit it up and see what's left at this point. I would have loved to do that, but I just didn't have time. and didn't hit up Walmart. I wanted to see if there's, I always like, even if I'm not buying toys, I like to go into Walmart every week to just kind of see what's going on and see what's new on the shelves. I still haven't found Prima yet, so I want to like also if I do see a Prima in the wild, I'm gonna pick one up. I'm probably gonna end up finding one probably at a future TF Con or something. I'll buy it loose, but I mean I'd like to buy it with the box just to have the art and everything. T-Formers 2002 ballpoint. We'll get a toy whenever we finally do Signal Lancer. Signal Lancer could happen because if we ever do get, uh, oddly enough, he's called Mudflap in the dub, and he's called Demolishor in the Japanese version, and he's called Mudflap in the dub. But Cybertron Mudflap, that blue crane, is kind of like the foundation of what Signal Lancer's transformation is. So if we ever do get Cybertron Mudflap, which is a good way to keep the trademark without having to do Studio Series Mudflap, we'll probably get a Signal Lancer. It'll happen for sure. Um, Bigum, I just ordered a second overcharge since Amazon had them on sale. Do you need two overcharges? Is there a reason for getting two of them? I guess he was really cheap then to get two overcharges. My goodness. $37 for art overcharge seems a bit more fair. Yeah, well, and again, like I remember asking Evan in person, I'm like, and he doesn't come with the sticker sheet? Because if you know the old overcharge, the old eHobby one, he came with like an awesome sticker sheet that just had like every faction ever. So it's like, oh, that's kind of a shame. You couldn't have like kept the history of it and include like a crazy sticker sheet. You guys did that back in the day. So T-Formers 2002 got the Energon Universe book, the Ballpoint Worst Bot Ever book, the Godzilla book, the Speed Racer book, and the Star Wars book. Awesome. The Speed Racer book, man, that was one I was looking forward to too. Like I had like where's my wallet? Is it upstairs? Oh, here we go. I literally had like a list on myself, no joke. A list of here's all the books that I want. I want to get the Mega Man book, which I did. It's upstairs already. The Transformer book, the G.I. Joe book, the Rival Schools Street Fighter book, the Gundam book, the VR Troopers Power Ranger book, the Speed Racer book, and the Godzilla book. Those were the goals, you know? Those were the goals. If I could get those, I'll be happy. And so most of those I wasn't able to get. So I was like, oh, that's too bad. And again, the King Arthur and Knights of Justice book ended up getting canceled, so that got taken off of my list already. Was looking forward to it. Oh well, maybe another time. Maybe another time. Um, Bigum, I'm army building them. It's true. Yeah, it's true. You're right. You're right. That is an army builder character. I wouldn't imagine army building leader class figures, but I guess at $37, if you have the money and space, that's one thing. I mean, the closest thing I've ever army built in my entire life was Transformers Prime back in the day when they were called at the time Cyberverse scale, the Little Legend scale. The Viacons, I bought three of them, and then I army built that. The only other time I army built, but that doesn't really count, was when they had the army builder packs from Bacon. So I guess you could count those too. But like me subconsciously actually buying something to army build, that was the only time I have ever done that, and it was the smallest price point possible. So I'm weak. I didn't do it right. Um, Y Studio One is repainting their third-party Primus into Golden Age era Cybertron, but the inner robot is white and red. Is that a specific reference? Yeah. Well, the original Primus face had a white and red kind of look to him. If let me grab good old Primal Scream. One moment. Pull out Primal Scream. We have Primal Scream, Primal Scream, Primal Scream. No, that's End of the Road. Here we go. Ugh. Primal Scream. One day this will be replaced by the Kickstarter. But let's get to good old Primal Scream. There you go. That's the first appearance of Primus. And then later on, when I think it's like here's another shot of him. Very obviously Hot Rod Rodimus looking face, because he was the chosen one. And then if we get to when he got hit in the face, dink, and that woke him up. So that's kind of where that came from. That color scheme. A little quick history lesson there. El Kevo, thanks for the heads up on the sale, guys. I got 3 overcharges for under $50 thanks to gift cards. Well then, that's very cool. I'm happy everyone's getting good figures. Never pay full price if you don't have to. That's what I always say. T-Formers 2002, the issue would overcharge and stickers as modern Hasbro sticker sheets suck. Well, I mean, if Power of the Primes was any indication of stickers, oh boy, the amount of stickers that they. I'm looking at some of my Power of the Prime stuff and like I think like Alita 1 is a good example. Like, how are those stickers still on that figure? Like, they should be peeling off. There's some really bad ones there. Ashna, I only army troop, army Cobra troopers. Well, I have a friend. He builds stormtroopers. He buys a bunch of them. But again, those are so much cheaper. Like back in the days of Power of the Force, like buying a $5 stormtrooper, you could buy like, for the price of one overcharge, you'd have like 10 stormtroopers back in the day. So maybe not during the Black Series era, but still. Why lag why? Oh, that's good to know. Sick. I really want just a golden Cybertron, but that makes the toy a lot better to justify it. Yeah, they were going for obviously like something that's a little more, you know, that era. I'm trying to see if they have any other shots. I think that was it for Primus. Yeah. After the Primal Scream, then that begins the Matrix quest afterwards with my boy Nightbeat and some of the amazing Simon Furman stories that were written from that. So, I mean, that's from Seed, right? That's the Seed third party one. I mean, that thing looks cool. It's just that, yeah, if I could find it cheap, I'll buy it because anytime it's like a Primus figure, I'm always kind of intrigued, or a Cybertron figure, even if it's third party, because it also has that like DNA connection to Hot Rod and Rodimus. So, like, it's like, oh, yeah, maybe I do want to get that. Maybe I do want to get that. And again, I'm not big on third party in general, but once in a while, a third party item comes around and I go, okay, okay, I could see that. Uh, you nab them on sale, they don't go over 20. Well then, if you could get them that cheap, go for it. T-Formers 2002, I armied a bunch of Studio Series sweeps when they were clogging at $15-20 a piece. Well then, and that's one thing too. It's like, I mean, Hasbro's really, 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 like, if you don't count what they were doing during the BotCon days, because that really was like a co-production with Fun Publication. But back in the day, man, you know, like, you would never see army building from Transformers. They never like encouraged it outside of like, again, when they did the Viacons at best. Like, if you wanted army build the sweeps, you just had to buy a bunch of Scourges. They didn't make a sweep unit. And you could argue like, oh, well, Proto, what about during Beast Machines? Yeah, they only started like doing the drones when the line was on its way out, because you would have had to buy a whole bunch of tank cores, not the drones. You'd have to buy a whole bunch of thrusts, not the motorcycle drone. So, but it is cool. YLAGY shows that the OG Seed Primus on sale for a while. Hopefully, it's the same for the golden set. How much does the OG one go for? Maybe I'll pull the trigger. I like it that has like a globe mode. Like, it has a thing that it sits in, so that's kind of cool. I gotta respect that. Gotta respect that, because Lord knows, Hasbro hasn't given us a Planet Cybertron in a while. And in my opinion, there's been some missed opportunities to do it. So I really think they should have done it for the 40th. That's just my take. I mean, unless they're waiting for a 50th anniversary, but really you're going to make us wait like another 10 years before we get, something like that. That's crazy. El Kevo always wanted the army build foot soldiers and mousers when I was a kid, but my mom wouldn't buy me the same toy twice. Well, I mean, Mousers, I believe NECA did a 3-pack at some point, and the Mouser that you're referring to was the wacky wind-up ones from back in the day for Ninja Turtles. 1988, I think, was when that one came out. The wacky, wacky Mouser, wacky wind-up, whatever they called it. So yeah. Horned Owl, thanks to Cyberverse, I army built a bunch of Repugnance figures. Yeah, from that multi-pack. I love that multi-pack. That's a fun pack. That's a fun pack based on a bunch of really good episodes from the show. Man, Cyberverse was such a good series. Doesn't get celebrated enough. A couple of them with my G1 Power of the Primes and third-party versions, making a really cool display. It's true, yeah. There was that like Hasbro Pulse, not Hasbro Pulse, but like Hasbro Toy Shop exclusive Repugnance. There was that one too. I like Repugnance. That was one. If you want to build out one more, get 2006's Cybertron Repugnance, which is a repaint of Undermined, and he's even the same colors too. Just he's like I guess like a Spinosaurus, maybe. I don't know. I'm not good with my dinosaurs, but so there's another Repugnance you could add. Wacky Action. That's what it was. The Shredder, Mouser. They had the swimming Donatello, the spinning Michelangelo, and I think what was the last one? Was that it? It was only the four. Could be wrong. Could be wrong on it. I think it was just the four. The spinning. Oh no, I think the Raphael was spinning and the Michelangelo spinned on his back. Something like that. El Kevo, yeah, you click the button on the back and wind them. I bought a couple of those multi packs that like they did in 2012 just to satisfy the childhood. Yeah, the NECA one did the multi packs. I remember those. They did a multi pack, and I think if you bought April from NECA at the time, you also got one too. So there was a bunch. Tom Laney, with the tariffs going on, when they put in orders, does that mean products at warehouse or en route? So the only way I could answer that based on facts is from what I heard from Joel from Big Bad Toy Store. So the reality is if you have a pre-order that you did prior to, I want to say about 2 months ago, um, check your pre-orders because they may increase the price on you and you don't know it. Meaning, like if you did a pre-order and you pre-ordered for $50 and you in your brain you go, okay, I'm only going to pay $50. They may have increased the price so that they don't lose money on your pre-order to like whatever it is, let's say 65. So I do suggest if you do have pre-orders, check in, make sure that you are satisfied with whatever the new pre-order price is. So I know BBTS and Joel brought that up because if you do have a pre-order, there is a chance that prices may increase before you get it because they take pre-orders. It's long before it comes from the factory when they take these pre-orders. So Hasbro is not going to eat the losses on that. If you have like 10,000 units of a single deluxe class and everybody pre-ordered it and then all of a sudden it goes up $7, Hasbro is not going to eat that $70,000 of, or so of up. They're going to just increase the price on you quietly. And that's not just Hasbro, but any web shop, as long as they're transparent. Again, Big Bad Toy Store, I'm not sponsored by them. I'm just being honest because Joel's always been a very transparent guy. Joel was transparent saying, hey, just a heads up, we're going to have to increase prices on you guys for your pre-orders, you know? So if you do have pre-orders, check them out beforehand with all stores, Amazon, everything, because a lot of places are not going to eat the losses. The Twins Corner. We twins recently got our hands on Transart Beast Wars Ravage for sale and picked them up with the Silver Bow 2. Can't recommend Transart Masterpiece Scale Beast Wars second trans. Yeah, I have that one. I got that as a gift from Michael Koo. He has those little magnetic hips, so you could put the guns and they just go zoom. I love that thing. It's amazing, and it's amazing because that thing came out around the same time that we had the Hasbro PulseCon Ravage Beast Wars 2-pack. But this Masterpiece one is amazing. Amazing. Does it turn into a tape? No, that's impossible. It doesn't matter. Still amazing. Absolutely incredible. Twins Corner, Proto Man, any news on your end about Peter Cullen and him doing conventions in the fall? Chicago, maybe. We tried listening into news and haven't heard nothing yet. Nothing yet, my friends. Nothing yet. He's just recovering. It's kind of sad that both Optimus Prime and Optimus Primal both went through big health scares in the last couple months. Of course, Gary Chalk too. He had his cancer scare, but now he's cancer free. Gary, we wish you all the best, man. I love that guy to death. He's such a incredibly strong individual. But Peter too. Peter had his health scare. We don't have any updates yet. Um, we'll find out when we find out. But in all honesty, I mean, I can't stress enough. Like Peter's not a young guy. You know, he's not a young guy. He's a Montrealer, and we're tough guys. But he's not a young guy. And I mean, I just say that it from one stance in that even if he does get healthy, would I expect him to want to do conventions anymore? You know, like if you're healthy, do you still want to get on a plane and start like, doing cons and stuff? I'm a healthy, younger individual and I hate taking plane flights. I can't imagine him wanting to go around. Now, in all honesty, if I was a betting man, if he does do conventions, it'll be something that'll be close to home. So maybe a West Coast show, like somewhere in LA where he lives now, or if he goes to see family in Montreal. So if he's near Montreal, maybe a TFCon Toronto. But again, don't quote me on any of this. This is just me, spitballing on what's going on. But I don't expect him really to do any shows if he's in really bad health right now. I don't expect it. Granted, we've had voice actors that they did it to the end, you know, and props to them and their love for the fans. But at the same time, your health is important, so it's a tough one. It is a tough one, you know, it is a tough one. I mean, it's something where after what happened with Gary Chalk, and Gary beat cancer and went through chemo, and it's something where even if Gary says, you know what, I'm not going to do shows anymore, I won't hate him for it. You know what I mean? I won't be angry. Oh, Gary, why aren't you doing conventions anymore? Bro, your health is the most important thing. You could be a millionaire and you can't buy health. You can't. It's the only thing you can't buy in this world. You can't buy youth. You can't buy health. And your health is the most important thing. And it's something where if it's a voice actor, even if it's a voice actor I never met, if they can't do shows anymore, I would understand, you know? And anyone that was following Gary Chalk's journey when that was happening, if you were following it on Facebook, it was very heartfelt. He was going through a lot of stuff. So it's something that if Gary chooses not to do shows anymore, I'll respect his opinion and understand it completely. And right now it's been kind of quiet with Mr. Cullen, you know, um, like it's something that we don't know anything. And it's sometimes people are a little more private with their lives, so we don't know what's going on because look, he's not a young guy, and a lot of our G1 guys are not young guys. I mean, Dan Gilbazon, who was Bumblebee, I think was the youngest guy on that crew outside of Corey Burton, who was Spike. Um, So I think and both of them, I think they were like 27 and 26 between the two of them. And both of them now, they're in their like late 60s, early 70s, you know? And that's like the youngest guys on staff of like the G1 crew. How many have we lost? How many are no longer with us? You know, Judd Nelson, he was pretty young too when he did Hot Rod. I think he was also like in that, in 86. Well, he probably recorded it in late 85, early 85. I think he was probably 21 at the time, maybe 22, coming off a Breakfast Club. But you know what I mean. You bought your youth yesterday? Ask you how? How, Joseph? How did you do that? Rudy Mack, we all love our Optimi. Yeah, it's something that I don't expect that of them. Like whenever I see Japanese voice actors, especially the older ones, best example, past San Diego Comic Con, the original voice actor for Metal Hawk was there. That dude's got to be like 89 years old. No joke. He was like 89 years old. And I was in one of those situations in my mind. I'm just like, if I don't get an autograph from him, I don't think I'll ever get a chance again. So I was lucky at least to get his autograph, but it's something where, a lot of these guys, I can't imagine that poor dude getting on a plane all the way from Japan just to do some signings at San Diego. Like, I almost feel bad. Yeah, I would love to meet the guy who was, Metal Hawk's voice actor and get his autograph and take a photo, and I did. But the other side of me is like, yeah, but that poor dude had to take like a 19-hour flight from Tokyo, Japan, you know, to go to San Diego and then see my stupid face and go, oh, Metal Hoku, and me being a weeb, you know, I don't know. I feel sorry for a lot of these guys. I hate traveling. I can't imagine how it must be for some of these dudes. YLagY also heads up shows the store still has Primus for sale. 250 from 300. Ugh, 250 though. Ugh. And this is why I don't buy third party. Very cool, but still. David Mendenhall, it's true. 86 G1. He was like, God, how old was he? Because he was coming off of that Stallone movie. So that's got to be what? He's got to be like what? He was like 14 at the time, maybe. Gosh, Samantha Newmark. She was older. She was older though. She was probably like in her 20s. Some of the older ones. But yeah, it's true. David Mendenhall is still pretty young. I take it back. Yeah, he's probably the youngest out of all of them because we always see him at the LA shows. He always shows up, and he's got to be like he looks great. He looks great for however old he is. He looks great. Takes care of himself. So yeah, that's true. David Mendenhall. You got to go with good old Daniel from '86 movie. Got to. That's as young as it gets, for sure. And then if you want to see him live action, watch Over the Top starring Sylvester Stallone. You get to see Daniel Witwicky live action. David Mendenhall there. Good stuff. But yeah, no update yet. I mean, I will say this. If he was going to be at Chicago, like he would have been announced by now. For TFCon Chicago, when you have like a big name guest like a Peter Cullen, that's something you would have had announced very early just so you could do the ticket sales and stuff. Because obviously he'd be like a VIP kind of thing, much like Frank Welker was at the last show. So it's something that I wouldn't hold your breath for Chicago. And for future shows, I don't know what to tell you. I don't. I just wish him all the best for his health. Rudy Mack with the $5 super chat. Proto, I have learned about a lot of these people who make up the franchise history through your podcast. Thank you for that. So thank you, Rudy Mack. I like to celebrate creative people. That's why like whenever I pick up a comic, I'm always like, hey, shout out to the people because, you know, I got to work with a lot of these people in different shapes or forms or meet them. And they're very talented individuals. I don't get like starstruck, but I love meeting these individuals, seeing how their brains work, and it's always cool, to give those people their flowers and stuff. Because I always say, like, we're not immortal. We're not immortal, but if there's one way you could be immortal, it's to make your mark on the world in some shape or form creatively. The old saying, there's only two people in the world that are yet remembered forever: creators and conquerors. People remember Genghis Khan, people remember Napoleon, and people remember William Shakespeare and, Leonardo da Vinci and all these different creative minds, whether it be the written or the paintings or sculptures or buildings, you know? So, very important to me. David is 53 years old. He does not look 53 years old. David looks like he's like my age. He looks like he's like 40, you know? David looks he looks way better than me, that's for sure. I won't argue that one. That's for sure. El Kevo Over the Top is a great bad movie, awesome to watch when you're hungover. Yeah, it's Over the Top is a interesting Stallone movie. If you're a Transformer fan, you're watching it to hear Daniel Witwicky used in another shape or form. Twins Corner, thanks for the input on the older cast doing conventions. Proto, all respect to these guys. They're all special. I hope they know how much we cherish them and their work, and just as them as people. Yeah, I mean, it's it sucks because the one that hit me really hard was guys like Derek Wyatt that I got to know for many, many years. And, still to this day, I have, some of his personal paraphernalia here on the side of my table here. And it's like, I've known Derek for so long, and like he was like super, 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 super talented guy who had his own you know, little hiccups and interesting, you know, creative spurts of like, oh, stuff should be like this and stuff should be like that. And, he was such a wacky and fun guy. And, losing him was absolutely atrocious. And then meeting David Wise, who you guys might know him better for like, Transformer writing and stuff, who was calling me during the live stream. People call me, and they out of their goddamn minds. Anyways, um, it's something where, then you have like, David Wise, who like I came up to him because I was like, oh my God, I loved your work on Speed Racer, the new Adventures of Speed Racer. He was the writer for all of those, and Wildcats, the cartoon, and Ninja Turtles, and a lot of other like '90s cartoons that I loved as a kid. And got to know him better because he was so intrigued because I was the first person in his entire life that's like, I loved your work on Speed Racer, because he's like, I hated that show. It was terrible. And I'm like, I loved it. And so then we had the TFCon staff dinner, and I got to get to know him better and everything, and we talked about Speed Racer and stuff. And then he passed away the following year. And I was like, you know, didn't know that he went through chemo and stuff, and he lost a lot of weight and everything. You don't know these things. You don't know these things. Uh, what a name. I'm going to call you the frog expert, just so I don't get demonetized, because YouTube is like that. Frog expert for the $5 super chat. In October, you gave me car help on the stream, and it really helped. Went through some rough months, and I wanted to thank you. Sorry it took so long. Brother, any car advice, I am more than happy to help people. Aaron Archer, he knows it. He's in the chat. Do you know how many people come to our table at TFCon and they'll ask like, "Hey, like you're a mechanic, right?" And I'll talk to them about cars, no problem. Literally, no joke, no joke. Like here, let me open up my phone here. Hold on a second. This was like a conversation. I'm gonna try to hide my friend's name because he might be embarrassed. But my buddy, just literally recently, you know, wall of text, sending me pictures. Oh no, I don't want to show of his. He cracked his oil pan. You know, he's like, "Hey man, I cracked my oil pan. Do I have to change the oil pan? Is there a way to do it cheaper?" Hide his name because he's embarrassed by it, but happens all the time. But I'm happy to help, man. I'm happy to help. Look, two most expensive things you're ever going to have in your life that depreciate in value. Two most expensive things: your car. You're going to spend a lot of money on your car, and it's only going to depreciate in value over time, but it is so valuable to you. And your significant other, they depreciate in value and they cost a lot of money. But that's the only one that's worth a lot of money that appreciates in value is usually your house, but then you have to maintain it. So it's something where, again, I'm happy to help. Happy to help. Look, cars are like, I always say it's like a toaster. You use your toaster every day, but you don't know how it works. And cars are the same thing. Like, you need your car to get to work. If you can't get to work, you can't make money. You need your car to get food. If you can't get into your car, and if your car breaks down, you're in trouble, and you don't want to have to spend money on Uber and all this other silliness. So I understand completely. 100%. 100%. And look, as someone who works in the mechanic industry, sometimes I feel, people overpay for jobs that shouldn't have to be too expensive. That's real talk. Sometimes you shouldn't have to pay $1,300 to change an oil pan. When the oil pan costs $100, the gasket costs $10 on a good day. If you're 4 liters of oil, so what? $50 in oil if it's non-synthetic. A couple of screws that take maybe an hour. That shouldn't be $1,300, and yet it happens all the time to people, and I hate it. It's how I get paid. It's not my choice. My boss is the evil overlord. I will admit it, that charges people exuberant amounts of money. But it is what it is. I'll answer this non super chat question just because it's car related and I feel it could help people. I want electric vehicles to be good. Here's my feeling on them. Okay. I want them to be amazing. I want them to take over the world. That way we can move away from fossil fuels. I want that. But we can't live in a world where we don't have fossil fuel gas based vehicles. Because if we rely completely on electrical, I see it firsthand. We get a power failure. Remember the big Proto Man ice storm in April of 2 years ago, I think it was? Was it 2 years ago or a year ago? Big ice storm. We lost power for like a week. Now imagine I was able still to get in my car and go get food and, hit fast food and go to that Walmart that still had power and everything. If it was an electric vehicle, think about how many people who forgot to charge their phone once and then they don't have a plug nearby and they're screwed. Now, imagine with an electric vehicle. So you have to have both. I think we have to work on something that's a good hybrid. And yes, there is hybrid electrical vehicles. I feel that we need to have both. They have to exist in both worlds. The old saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket. I think we could move more towards electric vehicles so we could lower carbon emissions in the world and also just not have to rely on fossil fuels that are expensive. But I feel like I think, and I know it's a big ask, but I think every household should have an electric car and a fossil fuel car. And your fossil fuel car could be a beater that just kind of sits on the side, and when you need it for emergencies, you could do it, kind of like a flashlight that you only use when you lose power. And then you have your electric car that you use every day. And I hope just it all works out. And like Snell World said, the second problem that I have with electric cars, especially as a Canadian, in cold weather, they are terrible, especially if you live somewhere like Montreal, Canada. You have a car that's going to sit outside in minus 40 overnight. Yeah, you're charging it. You have the block heater. Sure, all of that. But the moment you turn on your car, it's like, oh, there's 18 layers of snow on the roof of my vehicle and frozen ice on my windshield. I got to start the car to warm it up, otherwise I can't see. You have to warm up your vehicle for sometimes 15 to 20 minutes just so your car is clean in Montreal, Quebec. And that's blowing the heating and then all of that. And then you take, in my case, a 40-minute drive if you have traffic and everything while running the heating, because if you don't, you're going to fog your windows and once again you can't see. By the time you get to work, if you don't have a plug-in station, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get home. And the only reason why I speak of that, because on my wife's side, there's people that own electric cars and they live in fear of that all the time. They get to work and they go, oh, they only have two charge stations. And they're like, oh my God, if those two charge stations are used for whatever reason, they're in trouble. Because then they have to wait for whoever's there to leave before they could get their time. And if they get their time, oh my God, like I finish work in like 30 minutes, but I have to charge my car. So it's not perfect. One day it will be perfect. One day we're going to go from back in the day, there was no such thing as lithium batteries like we have now for our cell phones. So one day maybe we'll get a really good kind of battery that has a strong yield, that's able to hold a charge better, and then we could have electric cars that you don't have to charge for like a month. And I know that sounds like science fiction, but really a lot of stuff that we used to think were science fiction are reality today. So I'm hoping one day that that could be an evolution too. That and I've said this hundreds of times, hydrogen could be an amazing new fuel source if it wasn't so explosive. If someone could figure out a way to contain hydrogen safely, we could have cars that run on water. No joke. No joke. But hydrogen is very explosive. Even if you could separate the hydrogen from the oxygen in water, it's very explosive. It could work as a great fossil fuel. It's not a fossil fuel, but a fuel. But what happens where you store hydrogen, then you get into a car accident, and then like in the movies, you know? So that's a whole other conversation. I could go into huge car talk all the time, but that's my long short of it. Um, Careful not let the lady upstairs hear that. Oh, she's great. She's great. Right, Butters? Butters is chilling with us over there. You can kind of see Butters a little bit in the reflection, that white blob there. Um, Snell's World, Proto Man should get a Wrangler because they produce a lot of heat under the hood. I will never, here, I'm going to say this right now, Japanese cars forever. I will never own an American vehicle. I'll never own a Korean vehicle. I will never own a European vehicle except for old 80s Porsches are really good. I've worked on a ton of European vehicles, and most of them are not good. Japan for life. Toyota Corolla, Honda Civic. I literally, I don't want to sound like a dick. I am able to judge a person's either economic background or decision making abilities based on what car they have. Let's put it that way. So if you drive a Kia Sorento, it means either you're bad at making decisions when it comes to cars or you don't have money. And that's just how I feel. Like I am not a fan of American vehicles in general. And I've worked on every kind of car. I've worked on Porsches, BMWs, Subaru Imprezas, Toyotas. I've worked on everything possible. The only thing I haven't worked on is Lamborghinis. That's it. I worked on Ferraris, Lambos. I've never seen a Lambo in my life come in, so I can't speak for those. But I've worked on Lambos. I've worked on like Econolines. I've worked on old Rubicon, like what the old Jeeps, that the Willie Jeeps that Hound was. I worked on all kinds of weird stuff. You know, Prius and the Matrix are very similar. Toyota cars, they don't make them anymore, but those are pretty good too. I love Toyotas. They're not my favorite car in the world. If you put a gun in my head and said, "What's my favorite car?" Probably a Subaru Impreza WRX, but I rather get a Toyota Corolla or a Honda Civic compared to a Subaru Impreza if I wanted to have a car that'll last forever. That's how it is. That's how it is. That's how I always stand by that. My favorite car isn't the best car, and that's being honest. I will live and die by Subaru Impreza, but Corolla is still a better vehicle. Honda Civic is still a better vehicle, hands down. A Toyota RAV4 will be better than a Subaru Impreza. A Honda CRV will be better than a Subaru Impreza. So I'm just saying. And BMWs, ugh. Volkswagen Golfs and most Volkswagens, ugh. Most Porsches, not all, but most Porsches, ugh. They are not good cars. Those are cars that are bought by people that they know are not going to be long-term owners of them, so they don't have longevity. If you're buying a Porsche, that means either you're not going to keep it for long and because you have money and you could switch it up every couple years, you're just leasing it for 3 years so you could beat it up and throw it away, or you're buying it for the long run and goodbye to your wallet when the problems happen. Instrument clusters, lights, oil problems, gaskets, water pumps. I have seen it all. They all have those problems. It's exclusively a European problem. Scion XB is a Toyota vehicle. It's just marketed as its own brand here in America. They discontinue it though because it didn't sell very well. It was a unique car. 86 Corolla is one of the greatest of all time, but that's just biased. T-Formers 2002 weekly stream question coming up. What's for dinner? We actually picked up food. We actually we went, because we did grocery shopping. So we stopped by one of our local Asian supermarkets and we picked up a bunch of we'll call it Asian fast food. So we got beef with Canadian broccoli, with General Tao chicken, with Chow Fung noodles, with tea on the side, like canned tea, because we just didn't have time to cook today because we were out all day doing free comic book day stuff. And then we had to squeeze in doing all our groceries and then get home in time to do the live stream. So that's my dinner for tonight. I should have taken a picture. Very nice though. But yeah. Looks are a different story. Japanese cars could look good. I mean, that's subjective. I think there's a lot of beautiful European vehicles. I mean, I'm never going to say that a Porsche is uglier than a Corolla. I think a Porsche is way better looking than a Corolla, but I think a Corolla is a way better car than a Porsche will ever be, you know? So it's really what your goals are, but 99% of the people in this chat, you're owning a car to have it last as long as possible so it could do its job. You don't care how your toaster looks. You don't care if your toaster, gives you a status symbol. You just care if your toaster makes toast and it does it properly and it lasts for as long as it can. No one ever replaces a toaster before it breaks. They only replace a toaster when it breaks. And it's the same thing. A car should be looked at like that. I love cars. Alternators is my favorite Transformer series because of all those beautiful cars and stuff that it did. Amazing stuff. But at the same time, you have to look at cars from a perspective of longevity because it's the most expensive thing you're going to own that is going to betray you. You'll buy a Nintendo Switch for $500, and who knows, 5, 10 years from now, if you keep that Nintendo Switch untouched and everything, it might actually increase in value, you know? But there's no cars, if you drive them and everything, that they increase in value. It's a or depreciating assets through and through every single time. Uh, T-Formers 2002. I used to love my Civic. Yeah, it's sunburnt and a bit banged up, but it's very reliable. Of course, bulletproof cars. Honda Civic, Toyota Corolla. If you're buying one car in your life and you don't care about like how they look, Honda Civic, Toyota Corolla for life. For life. You will buy a Honda Civic or Toyota Corolla, like buy a 2026 model, and no joke, you are going to have that car for 20 years if you take care of it. Do regular oil changes, do regular rust proofing if you live in a more, snowy, acidic kind of area, if there's salt put on the ground, and you will have that car for 20 years. 20 years easily. You will not have a lot of other things for 20 years, but you will have that car for 20 years. No joke. People will be looking at you and going, "Oh, look at that classic you own," you know? Um, and again, there is some good American vehicles, but a lot of them come from a different time. A lot of American vehicles made today are not made to last. There's a reason why GM was going to go bankrupt and everything during that first recession in 2000. They didn't have any plans, you know? A lot of American vehicles. Look, if you love how they look, oh, that's a really good looking American vehicle, their history and everything like that. Totally different story. I actually have, like, let me pull them up here. I have a huge stack of, literally on my desk here to show you I'm legit. Whole collection of beautiful American cars. Actually, not all of them are American though. This is the good old Nissan 300ZX, an amazing twin turbo car. You know, but like this one here, the good old Oldsmobile. And then this one here, this is a Ferrari. Let me get some other American ones. The T-Bird. How could you go wrong with a '57 T-Bird? I think they look gorgeous, but 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 a T-Bird is going to betray you. you know, so it is what it is. Snell's World Proto, the only vehicle take a look at is a Wrangler. Eh, I've worked on I've worked on a few Wranglers in my day. These are cars that are good for 5 years. I'm talking after the 5 years, after your uh, guarantee is gone, after your protection of the engine is gone, 300 kilometers is been passed, then we talk. There is a ton of Honda Civics that are past 250,000 kilometers. I'm using kilometers because that's how we work here in Canada, and they're still on the road, and it's a whole other story. Fair Lady Z, Fair Lady Z, man, the first ever Japanese sports car, absolutely beautiful. AKA what the Datsun Z and what the Datsun brothers are. The prowls, the blue streaks, and the smoke screens. Legendary vehicle was the first car that was like, hey, why don't we make the body out of fiberglass? Fiberglass never gets damaged. It can handle the weather. It weighs nothing, and it doesn't rust. You know, Genius. God bless those Japanese sometimes, man. Geniuses. There is a manga. I forget the name of it. I should look it up. There is a manga that talks about. I went to reach for my phone. Everything fell. Um, that talks about the history and origin of the Fair Lady Z, and it's fascinating. Let me find that for you guys if you're interested. Manga Fair Lady Z origin, and it's not Wagon Midnight. Not Wagon Midnight. Let me find it. Here it is from Goodreads. It's called Project X 250 a 240Z. It's an English manga. It's a Japanese manga, but it was translated in English. I don't know how much it goes for now. I bought it many years ago. And it was Tokyo Pop at the time was interested in doing mangas about the history of famous Japanese creations. Obviously, the very first Japanese famous sports car with the Fair Lady Z, and Cup a Noodle was another one. Very good read if you could find it. It's very historical and interesting. You see Proto with a GTR Skyline. Nope. I see myself with a Toyota Corolla 1986, AE86 Corolla, the Hachiroku. I see Proto in a Fairlady Z or 300, well, specifically a 300ZX twin turbo in red with a T-top. I could see myself in a Subaru Impreza WRX 2005 model in electric blue with a rim spoiler. I could see myself in a let's go with a Nissan Silvia. We'll go with a 1995 model in red. Uh, if we want to go European, I'll go with a Ferrari Terrazzo. That's about it. That's about it. And here, if you want old school, here's a good old Cadillac RC finger changer. Eh, eh. Good old Tacticon. There you go. There's your old school transformer of the day. But yeah, I love them. I could talk about cars forever. You can tell that I like cars, eh? Um, let's see. A blue Fairlady Z would be nice to own. Some with that blue streak action. Well, that was the blue streak was the standard car color for the Fairlady Z in Japan. It came in two standardized colors, silver and blue. Ironically, the two colors that were used for blue streak in variations. The Fairlady blue, which I believe it was called Fairlady blue, and then the silver. So it is what it is. Why lag? Why? Sorry for another tariff question. Gen Selects Tripticon showed up in stock last week. BBTS MSRP is 199, but but Earth Entertainment has it for 122. Did Joel eat the tariff cost on this one? He might have gotten it beforehand. That's the thing. It's not that he ate the cost. He probably got it beforehand, and Earth Entertainment probably got it afterwards. Like Joel's being very transparent. He actually said he's not going to eat the tariffs. So if the price is fine, that means Joel didn't get hit with it on that item. He got it beforehand. Because I know for a fact I pre-ordered some stuff and the price has increased. But he didn't eat the cost on it. It's just he got lucky. If it shipped beforehand, then you're fine. If the inventory is already, here, you're fine. Time of the end with the $2 super chat. That is so true. My dad still has his 86 Corolla. Dude, those cars are amazing. An 86 Corolla has a dual overhead cam with a bulletproof engine that doesn't suffer from water pump leaks, doesn't suffer from oil leaks. Like you'd almost have to beat the crap out of that car in order for it to have problems. Like that car is amazing. Amazing. You could put like hundreds of thousands of kilometers on it and it will not die. It's going to rust before there's going to be engine problems. You know? Snell's World, I got two from BBTS, and neither of the Tripticons have tariffs. Well, there you go. It probably was shipped way early on. The thing is, keep in mind, when you're getting notified when now Joel has it in his hands and it's ready to go. You don't know how early on it hit the ports here in America. For all you know, your Tripticon was like 2 months ago. It hit the ports, and then it was slowly getting to them. Think about when you order from Amazon and you see how quickly something is tracked and how it leaves. And I'm not saying like quick Amazon Prime and all that. I'm saying like regular Amazon, how you're able to track your package and how long it gets put together. Some stuff could be coming super early when it's shipped over. So I think that's, it's one of those cases that Tripticon dodged that bullet because most people who got it, you know, got it early. That's what I think. I could be wrong. I can't speak of experience. I'm not in Joel's shoes. I'm not a Big Bad Toy Store. I didn't order that Triptychon. I don't know. But that's a possibility. T-Formers 2002. It sucks that Siege Omega Supreme reissue is 200 now over the original 150, and now it might go up again with Big Bad Toy Store. I really want it. Well, I mean, that's just the unfortunate fact of inflation and how they're using that as an excuse to put up the prices on products. Combined with the fact, let's be real, that Omega Supreme, if you weighed how much plastic it is, comes from an era of Titan classes that we're never going to see like that again. I'm looking at that Omega Supreme and I'm going like, man, we'll never see Titans like that again. Like I don't think so. Like if they would do if they would do a brand new Omega Supreme like Titan class again, it's going to be a $250 item of that amount of plastic weight. I mean, Star Convoy, Star Optimus is a window into the future of what our Titan classes are going to be. And if we hope to get anything that's of a decent Titan class in terms of crazy size again, it might be where Hasbro Pulse will go in the future after they get the Japanese stuff out of their system. So we'll see how that goes down. We will see. Absolute craziness. Sorry, I dropped some trading cards when I was reaching for my phone. That Omega Supreme, that Titan Omega Supreme is still peak. Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing, but it's a heavy figure. And what's crazy is when you think about it, right? Like we don't get that kind of heft anymore because by the time we got to like even like the Metroplex from Cybertron, they started to hollow that stuff out. You know, by the like Siege to the Cybertron Metroplex, which was like the end of that trilogy, you could already see it was starting to lighten up. You know, it was a different story. Completely different story. Actually, it wasn't the end of that trilogy. It was the beginning of a new trilogy with Legacy. So already we're in a different story, you know? Scorponok was another one, too, that was pretty heavy, although a little light in some areas. Tidal Wave is great, but Tidal Wave's a smaller guy. He's a lot smaller than some of the others. Tiny's here. We'll get the new cat. Tiny, you want to come here? Come. Come, you scaredy cat. Come. No? You want to come? No? It's our new black cat. I'm going to see if I could try to get her. And she ran away. Damn it. We have a new black cat on top of Butters, but she's very skittish because she's new to the house and stuff. So I think you guys saw her once on stream. She was on the couch. Brave Max is always for sale on eBay. Yeah, Brave Max is awesome. Brave Max is awesome. Grand Max, if you could get one. You know, if you could get one on the cheap, you know, it is what it is. And we got 2 minutes left in the live stream tonight. So get your super chats in. We got 2 minutes left, and then we're going to be done for tonight. Protoman has a million comics he's got to read. Looking forward to this one. Looking forward to it. I love, look how Laserbeak's drawn. Look at that. That's great. And shout out to Mars Jr. Love it. That's great stuff. You got to have fun sometimes with the Transformer brand, you know? You got to have fun, you know? But that's what I'm going to be doing tonight. Got a bunch of comics. I got to, again, it was a shame. I was hoping to buy more toys, but there just really wasn't that much, you know? Snellsworld Pro, do you ever think we might get a HasLab Metro Titan or Grand Max? I think after they get like the Transformer Victory and Zone stuff out of their system, they're going to start looking at the more obscure stuff because that's what HasLab's going to be. HasLab is 50% FOMO, 50% weird ideas that don't work for retail because the market can't fit it anymore. So, hey, let's do Metroplex. Oh, isn't Metroplex kind of a weird character? It's okay. People suffer from FOMO and they'll freak out if they don't buy it. They might miss their one opportunity. So they'll buy it. All right, cool. Peanut butter and jelly. Welcome to HasLab Transformers. So it'll happen. When we don't know, but it'll happen. It'll happen for sure. Because I can't ever see a Metro Titan in a Metro Titan that you would want existing in this day and age in retail. It just won't. We'll get a Metro Titan trademarked item, but it'll be like a Voyager class figure that transforms into a subway cart, and he'll be called Metro Titan. You know, like that's how we'll keep the trademark alive or something. But in terms of like a Metroplex, blue and red and pinkish repaint big old figure, yeah, that's gonna have to be a HasLab, unfortunately. It's not that it'll be dirty, why lag why. It's just the reality of what's happening with our hobby is the toy market is shrinking. Hasbro is trying to keep their quarterly reports for their investors up every single time, and they need to do it. They're going to go like, hey, we could put this guy in retail, but then we run the risk of it not doing as well because historically some of our other Titan classes don't do well. Or what we've been seeing with our past few Titan classes, very limited numbers, not showing up in retail at all. So all that time and energy to like tool, like let's say um, Tidal Wave, and think about it, how many units of Tidal Wave are out there? He was sold like almost exclusively through, think about it, third party partner stores, obviously the Hasbro Pulse website, Amazon, and the few other locations that would have online distributors. But how many people have seen a Tidal Wave in person at a big box retail, a Walmart, a Target, you know, I'm trying a Walgreens, if you want to stretch it, a Toys R Us for Canadians, you know. So just those three not carrying Titan classes anymore significantly reduces the population of them. Every single Walmart not buying even one single Titan class case, every Walmart not buying it reduces 4,000 of them. I'm just rounding it off here. 4,000 of those out of the population just in the United States, let alone Canada, UK, Australia, and so on. So it's crazy. It's crazy. It is crazy, my friends. And I hope that it doesn't get expensive because we're all not made of money, you know? And I always tell people, and this is part of the podcast's mission statement, is always how to save money on your hobby. But that's it more or less tonight. Again, thank you for all the super chats. Thank you for all the love and support. Once again, if you want to continue supporting the podcast, we have the Patreon link down there. You can come join the Patreon, join us on Discord. We hang out, we talk. I recently did some posts of some cool Diaclone, uh, old Diaclone books that have been translated. I've been posting those like crazy recently on the lore section. We have all kinds of discussions and everything. Sales thread, check them all out there again. And of course, we have our Patreon exclusive stuff that happens with exclusives and little exclusive figures and everything through TFCon and all other things too. If you want to just help support the podcast, or you could be like some people that just join the Patreon just to hang out. Shout out to Michael Koo, who's a really good one, and a few others that they just want to support the podcast. They don't care about the Discord. They don't care about the exclusives. They just want to support. That's cool too, my friend. Again, thank you, everyone. Thank you for the love and support. And once again, enjoy a beautiful Saturday night with your friends, your family, your loved ones, and enjoy a beautiful world, all the cool stuff that's going on, both in our transform world and in our real world. Don't believe what you read on the internet. A lot of that stuff is just to make you angry because angry equals money, drama equals money, 24-hour news cycle equals money. And it just separates more people. I'm out of here. Take care. And as always, roll out.